During the episodes where you review Daniel Haggaju's videos, I noticed that he said several times that the truth of Islam and philosophical truth are separate discussions. He did? I don't remember that. While talking to religious people myself, I noticed the same trend to a kind of non-overlapping magisteria argument. My truth doesn't conflict with science. What do you find? What do you find is the best way to address this? Love the content. Stay based. My truth doesn't conflict science. Okay, so it really depends on who you're talking to, right? Some people. So philosophic. So for some hardcore Muslims, right, the realm of philosophy and science are, kind of the same realm. They're basically out of the realm of revelation and humans trying to come to conclusions with their own understanding, with their own tools, whether it be philosophy or science, right? So I think those are the type of Muslims you're talking about, because we do have other types of Muslims who also believe that no, not the philosophy and science, that is not a separate realm from the realm of revelation or the realm of religion. In fact, our religion, Islam, is a religion that you come to if you do your philosophy and science right. Everything points to God. Everything points to Allah, right? So let me see if I can think of two other positions. So let's just focus on these two positions. I'm assuming there are other positions, right? You have people who believe that the way you come to by God and know God and His religion is true revelation. Okay, and science and philosophy you do not bring science and philosophy to this realm. Okay, but it doesn't mean that science and philosophy are useless. Science and philosophy might be useful for other things. So often these people get accused of being anti-science or anti-philosophy. They say, like, we're not anti-science or anti-philosophy. They're just saying that you go do your science and philosophy for figuring out, I don't know, how to cure cancer or how to make a goddamn fridge, right? Or I don't know what I don't know what they use philosophy for, but for something, right? But figure that, use it. Sure, why not? Of course, that's great. Do your science. But when it comes to what is the best way of living, um, you know, and also why should what religion is, the fact that you have. I mean, I want to say why you should be worshiping God, but technically these kind of people think that you shouldn't even be questioning that. You just follow God's revelation. There's nothing to be questioned or argued in the realm of worshiping Allah or following Muhammad. You just follow. You just do what you're told. Okay. And they're saying, like, yeah, but they're not dismissing science. Okay. But so that's group A. And group B, Muslims, and I'm pretty sure there's group C, D, and E and F, but I'm just simplifying it right now. Group D is like, you know what? Actually, the best way to know Allah, this is not true, okay? The best way to know Allah and the best way to know why Islam is the best religion and why Islam makes sense is through science and philosophy, okay? We have, and the extreme version of that, okay, which not that many people believe, but I think the philosophers of the golden age of Arabs and Persian, which other people refer to as the golden age of Islam, they went as far as saying, like, not only science and philosophy is the best way to come at even these fundamental truths, as much as, like, I don't know, what Muhammad was trying to show people. It's the best way. So much so that they were saying, maybe revelation was for the average people, were for the for the commoners, for the peasants, like we philosophers and scientists, we have a better way. We have a more direct, and Sufis even say that, right? we have a more direct way to the ultimate truth. But because you people cannot be at our level, there was a prophet that came and told you these stuff because you guys are stupid, you guys are not at our level, right? So that's the extreme version of it. I'm not saying there's many Muslims who believe that, right? So when your question is, what do you find it? So I'm assuming that Daniel Hayraju or Sajid, these are people who believe to different extents that, coming God himself and following Muhammad himself, Sajid especially, you don't need reasoning for that. You don't need science for that. You need philosophy for that. You just follow. You just follow. You just understand. You just understand what is expected of you, and you do it. Dani Haraju is a little bit more on like, well, to non-Muslims, we have to kind of get them with the science and philosophy first. Maybe later they get convinced of that, right? That this is the way. But I think eventually he also believes that, you follow God because you follow God. But then you go a little bit more to the side of philosophy side, and you get to somebody like Muhammad Hijab, right, who talks more about philosophy than he speaks about Quran. I mean, maybe recently he might be pushed into going in the other direction, but we'll see. The question is whether the Quran is enough, right? Like, why are we trying to know God through philosophy, where a lot of these people understand to be mainly the work of ancient pagans, right? So their view of philosophy is the influence of philosophy in the world of Islam is basically the influence of people like Aristotle or Socrates, and these were pagans. And why do we need that? Like, we have the Quran. Isn't the God himself says in his book that this is a complete book? Why would we need anything else, right? And I think when you say, what do you think is the best way to address this, is to just use it, like, depending what is your goal and who are you talking to. Are you talking about like making YouTube videos? Are you talking about talking to an individual Muslim? Because if you're talking to an individual Muslim, I think the best method is the Socratic method, right? You could just curiously, be genuinely curious and just keep asking them about their views. And instead of you arguing against them, you get them to do philosophy without them realize that they're doing philosophy, because you're just asking questions. And now they are trying to, a lot of people are interested in telling you what their views are. And if you ask why, any answer to that question, why, will require them to do philosophy, even if they don't call it philosophy. So you bring in philosophy through the back door by simply asking them why they believe what they believe in, even if they're allergic to it, right? That's how I think it's the best way to do it, right? But when it comes to making content, what is the best way to do it is what you have to realize is that the mass majority of Muslims have not built very well structured, just like not just Muslims, the vast majority of people haven't thought these things through to that level of detail to understand in their own mind where they put all of these things and what the barriers are or what the limits are. And even if they have introduced the limits, the limits are not as hard as, maybe some people that we see like Daniel Hayraju, like they have thought about these things to a great level of detail, and they have decided where things are, right? But given that the vast majority of the Muslims, even if they have thought about these things, it's not as hard of a rule as you might think it is. But just so they might be, even if they think like, I don't know, this is not the realm of philosophy or science or inquiry or whatever, but they will still might be curious to watching your content, right? So you just put the content out there, and you just hope that you reach as many people as you can, or as few as people as you can, and just like, no, I mean, even if you reach a few amount of people, maybe it's effective. You know what I mean? So You just do what you do based on your personality and based on what works with you. And I don't think like you need to tailor it exactly to be like, oh, this is what works best for these people. Just do what resonates with you, and different. There's so many different people that are being affected by so many different things that you can't really pre-design that. Many people doing their own thing. Eventually, some of it works, some of it doesn't. You know what I mean? These are not things that you could plan. Secular Rarity is saying philosophy through the back door sounds kind of hot. You guys are all of you here, everybody who watches me is a pervert. And I'm proud of you guys for it. If you'd like to send me your questions for me to answer during our Q&As, become a patron. If you would like to have a discussion with me live on air at the end of the Q&As, become a YouTube member. Link to both is in the description. Thank you for your support.